I've noticed that you don't hear a lot about time capsules these days, which is great news for me because my new hobby is stealing time capsules. It's the perfect crime, because nobody's going to be looking for them for like 30 to 40. It's the second most perfect crime. Obviously, the most perfect crime, hiding a body in a time capsule. I've found like 5 of those so far. A bunch of music nobody wanted. And it's so much better than my previous hobby, which was setting warehouse fires. That is an imperfect crime if ever there was one. Gets noticed right away, almost immediately. You compare that to trying to dig up a time capsule that's not there anymore, you don't even know for sure if a crime has been committed. You'd have to go back and check the records. And you can't, because they burned up decades ago in a warehouse fire. As you can imagine, I'm a fan of get-rich-quick schemes. The best one on the books these days is something called crowdfunding. I have a feeling everyone in this room is probably well acquainted with Kickstarter. I like it very much. Part of that's because I've got no idea what it is people want. Like, I don't understand why the internet wants to give $14,000 to this guy in Iowa who makes beaded jewelry, but they won't give $4,000 to this lady in Ohio who makes beaded jewelry. I kind of want to make a game out of it. I kind of want to see how many projects I can back in a row without ever spending any money. Like, I found this rapper in Atlanta who says he needs $10,000 to make a mixtape. When I discovered his project, mere 2 hours before it completed, he was only $10,000 short of his goal. That's the kind of project I can get behind. At like $30. I feel like 1,000 would seem sarcastic. I'm already his biggest fan. But the problem, of course, is what happens to this game when somebody that I know starts a Kickstarter. And I do live here in Los Angeles, so the odds of that happening, it's like twice a week. It happens all the time, almost constantly. So much so that I'm surprised we don't have a word for that feeling when you like donate a little bit too generously because you don't think the project's going to succeed. Or for the feeling when it does succeed because everybody did that. And you all thought you were being funny, but now you've got to spend your weekends helping to playtest some kind of collectible card game that raises awareness about sex trafficking in the Pacific Northwest. And you're not even sure why it has to be collectible, because you feel like you're in for $100, you should get all the cards. You don't want to have to run around buying booster packs. So now you're worried, because maybe next year there's going to be another Kickstarter for the expansion set that introduces other kinds of slavery. And you don't even know if you like the base game or how it works yet. Are you trying to compete so you can traffic the most sex? You should have read the project page more carefully. That's the mistake that you made. As for me, I am not from here. I live in Los Angeles, I'm not from there. I come from the Midwest. That means whenever I talk to friends or family from back home, what they want to talk about is the weather. It's very boring. They'll say things to me like, "Oh, I'm sure the weather in California is nice, but you must miss having seasons. Do you miss having seasons?" The fact is, Los Angeles has plenty of seasons. They're short, they've got nothing to do with the weather, but we've got them. Right now is one of my absolute favorites. We are in the middle of Boat Angel season. Boat Angel, of course, is the organization that puts up advertisements in bus stops to let you know there's a place you can send your spare or excess boats. Might just be cluttering up a harbor somewhere. Where they can go to help a family in need. How about boat? You know, those families are just barely boatlessly scraping by. This is where they get their boats. And what better place to advertise? Because that's why people in Los Angeles are riding the bus. All their money is tied up in multiple boat ownership. The financial blunder that they've made is buying too many boats. Oh, sure, Sheila and the boys and I, we all prefer the yacht because we all have our own private bathrooms on the yacht. But sometimes you just feel like a pontoon boat ride, don't you know? This, no. The pontoon's in the marina with my catamaran. This is the life raft. It's the boat that stays inside the other boat. Hasn't touched water in almost 7 years. A lot of ways it reminds me of that gentleman who rides number 17 from Century City. Now look. We're here in Meltdown. You're a discerning comedy audience. You're thinking to yourselves, that guy's other guy voice wasn't very good. And you're right. But I know something that you do not know, which is that I am not left-handed. That was amazing. You are welcome. So from Ohio was the point of that story. I knew even before moving thousands of miles away, I would never be the guy who likes Ohio the most. That honor goes to a gentleman with a full chest tattoo that says, I, the shape of Ohio, Ohio. This is a guy who doesn't heart Ohio, he Ohio's it. He likes it so much, he's changed it from a place to a reflexive verb. Reflexive verb, I know that because I'm into language, I'm into grammar, that's what I Ohio. That's why I know that there's a word for people who like language and grammar, because of course there would be, and that word is etymology. An etymologist is the sort of person who'd be like really interested to know that when you see XXX written outside of a strip club on a jug of whiskey in an old cartoon, it's there to represent sin. Because it's the Roman numeral for 30, as in the 30 pieces of silver that the Romans gave Judas to betray Jesus. No, I made that up. But if that were true, that's the sort of thing that an etymologist would find fascinating. What I find fascinating